Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. Make sure you're getting involved in the comments as we talk about all the latest Manchester United news. Yes, we're live, so we want you lot to get involved. Make sure as well you are hitting that like button too. Loads of United stories doing the rounds this morning. Loads of transfer stories, some outgoings, some incomings, some outgoings that aren't happening. Thankfully, we'll be getting into all that. So join us for the conversation. Loads of people in the chat already. Akash K, Brian Casey, Notch is there as well. Morris Marshall, good to see all you people in there. Brian Casey says, I'm hopeful we might just be signing the most beautiful looking goalkeeper in Europe. Bald is best. Well said, Brian. Not enough people say that. Let's talk about Bruno Fernandes, because this is a weird sort of story, because it's kind of like the stories come out that Bruno Fernandes is wanted by, is it I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Is it Al Hilal, the Saudi team? They want him. They're willing to break the bank to get him, but United don't want to sell him. That is a story. So it's like, it's not happening. Says here in the Mirror, and I think this has originally come from the Star, Manchester United transfer stance on Bruno Fernandes. In fact, it might have even come from the Mail. Was it the Mail who had it? Yeah, it's Mail, but it's behind a paywall. But I think the Mail had it. I think our mate Nathan Salt and Chris Wheeler covering this for the Mail Plus column that they do, saying that Bruno is wanted by Saudi. We've got it here from the Mirror. It's all the same story. Says here, Saudi Arabian outfit Al Hilal are ready to lodge a hefty offer to Manchester United as they look to land Bruno Fernandes this summer. But the Premier League side have no plans to sell. Fernandes has been a shining light at Old Trafford, blah, 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 blah. We know all that. It is understood there was initial contact between the two parties last year before Fernandes signed a new contract to keep in Manchester until 2027. Reports in the Middle East, though, claim Fernandes' representatives held talks with Al Hilal on Monday. The Daily Mail reports there has been no formal offer, and even if one was lodged, the Manchester outfit have no plans to sell Fernandes. The 30-year-old is closing on 40 goal contributions this season, having scored 9 times and provided 18 assists. Listen, if Bruno Fernandes was 35, then maybe this would be happening. But he's not. I don't think he's going anywhere. And I certainly don't think he's going to the Saudi League. No disrespect to it. But he's still in his prime. He's a fantastic footballer. He plays every game for Manchester United, more or less. I think he was rested one at the weekend, which is a rarity. He's never injured. He's always fit. He's our most important player. If it wasn't for him, I think we'd have been getting relegated this season. Selling him for any amount of money makes zero sense to me. And also, he ain't going to go. If you're Bruno Fernandes, why would you go to Saudi when you're literally one of the best midfielders in the world? Right now as well. You used to be one of the best midfielders in the world, and now you're in decline. He is currently one of the best midfielders in the world. I think you can take Bruno Fernandes and you can put him in Liverpool's midfield. You can put him in Barcelona's midfield. You can put him in Arsenal's midfield. You can put him in PSG's midfield. He could go in any midfield in the world and make that team a little bit better. I genuinely think that. I think he's a fantastic footballer. And I think if someone like, say, Arsenal had Bruno Fernandes, they'd be closer to the title than they are right now. I don't think there's any chance whatsoever Bruno Fernandes will be going to the Saudi League, and nor should we sell him. If we were to sell Bruno Fernandes, people might go, oh, come on, Jay, he's 30 years old. You could get big money for him. For starters, he's not going to go. So it's a moot point about how much money you're going to get for him. And secondly, what sort of message does that send out to everyone? That sends out the message that United have given up. We've given up. Just forget it. It's over. Because we've actually got one player who we can rely on and we're getting rid of him. Not a good idea at all. It won't happen. We're reporting it because it is being reported. But I wouldn't sell Bruno Fernandes. Genuinely, I wouldn't sell him for anything. People say, well, what have you got 200 million? No, I don't care what you get for him. Bruno Fernandes, for me, right, could end up playing for Manchester United genuinely for the next 4 or 5 or even 6 years. I think he could do a Scholesy and go into his mid to late 30s playing for us. He's always fit. He looks after himself. He's never injured. Why couldn't he play to his mid 30s? Footballers do that all the time. He's that type of player who could do that. If you had another 5 years out of Bruno Fernandes, what's that worth to you every season? It's just priceless. So, no, don't see it happening, and nor should it. That's the last thing Manchester United want to be doing now. The only player we've got who has been proper reliable this season, who hasn't been injured, who hasn't had a little bit of a dip in form. I know he wasn't amazing at the beginning of the season, but hasn't had a big dip in form or dip in form where it's mad noticeable, has been Bruno Fernandes. He's the only one. And I think if you look at his record since he arrived, you look at what he brings to the team, you look at the fact that he plays in multiple positions. He can play as a 6 almost, as an 8, or as a 10. He's the captain, he's the leader, he's the one that takes the penalties, he's the one that creates the most chances. He does everything, even tackles. Just don't entertain the idea of getting rid of Bruno Fernandes. I've seen a couple of people comparing it to when Liverpool sold Felipe Coutinho, and it's not remotely the same. It just isn't. Like, for a multitude of reasons. Let me know what you think. Akash K's Morning Jay, hope you well, sir. That might be an old one. People talking about Osimhen, I'm going to get to that in a minute. Adam Kenny says, Bruno can't go yet. Just think how different England and Saudi are. They said they want him by early June. I just don't see it happening. Like, Bruno Fernandes, he's got so much more to offer. I don't see him going to a league. No respect, it's not even in the top 10 leagues, is it, in terms of the standard there? I know they've got some big name players, but it's not. It's just, it'd be insane for him to go. Salia Sonny says, I've said 500 million with no negotiation. Akash K says, Jay, we need to build a squad right now. We are so heavily reliant on Bruno at the moment. We all need to think about the future as well, as which requires money. Just saying, but selling, like, think about the future. Bruno Fernandes is part of the future. And also, what sort of a message does that send to other players? Come to United, we've all given up. And also, it ain't happening. It's not. He's not going to go. United aren't going to sell him. So, thinking about the future, I am. Of all the things that ain't going to happen, this ain't going to happen the most, as the kids say. Let's talk about Victor Osimhen. I can't believe people are entertaining the idea of selling Bruno Fernandes, you know. It absolutely rattles me. It just does. I'll never understand it whatsoever. And it's like, oh, just no. What are you on about? Let's talk about Victor Osimhen. This is from ESPN. Apparently, Manchester United have opened talks with Victor Osimhen. Now, the Osimhen to United rumours have been going around for probably about 3 or 4 years now. It looked like there was a time when there was a good chance it could happen. Then it was like, it went a bit cool. Obviously, the issue with, I think, when we were trying to sign him or we linked with him was the amount of money that Napoli paid for him was quite a substantial amount. Would United be able to match that? Now, after everything's gone a bit south, Napoli's obviously gone on loan to Galatasaray. It does feel like a deal is doable if United were to have the money. The sticking point for this seems to be wages, because United apparently now don't want to spend big money on wages. We've done it in the past, haven't we, where you've had Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Casemiro on 300k a week or around that figure. Are we going to carry on doing that? Would we do that for Victor Osimhen? You're probably going to want something like that. I'm not so sure. It says here in ESPN, you can see it on your screens, initial talks have taken place between United and the representatives of Victor Osimhen. Comes from Foot Mercato. The 26-year-old, who is expected to leave Napoli permanently when he returns after his loan in the summer, is said to be seen as a strong alternative option to Victor Gyökeres, and the Red Devils have been told that he would be open to a switch at Old Trafford on wages around 12 million per season. An offer worth more than 75 million euros is reported to be required to land the Nigeria international. What is that, around 60 million? 64 million, sorry, yeah, I think it's on the thumbnail, yeah. 64 million quid, which feels about right, doesn't it, for a player who's 26, scores loads of goals. I mean, maybe there is a way, right, that Manchester United could get the finances together for a deal like that. It looks like we are going to get Matheus Cunha for 62.5 million quid, right? Apparently, we spoke to Laurie Whitwell, and he said that that deal isn't reliant on whether we get in the Champions League or not, or sales. That deal, the money is there for that deal. United have sort of worked out a way that we can pay for that. It might be a staggered deal where we pay like 15 million a season over four years or whatever. But it feels like United are confident that that deal is doable without any sales and without Champions League football. So maybe, I know there's lots of ifs and buts, maybe United are looking at someone like Osimhen, or Gyökeres has been mentioned. It does feel like that's unlikely. And they're going, okay, if we were to sell Marcus Rashford for 40 million, Anthony, whose star is on the rise massively after what he's done at Real Base, for 25, maybe even 30 million. Jadon Sancho, I think we're due to get 25 million quid for him. Can that fund the money for Osimhen? And as well, if you were to get Champions League football, that could potentially give you another 100 million. So we're looking at me and producer Ben were chatting about this earlier, about how we can sort of do the maths. I spoke about this outside Old Trafford the other day. I think wages that we can save, if you get rid of the likes of Lindelof, there was talk maybe Tom Heaton might stay on, but Lindelof, Eriksen, Evans, I think we all expect to leave, probably Tom Heaton as well. I don't know. It's a bit of a grey one, that one. We'll get back to that. Sancho, Rashford, Anthony, Malacia, maybe one of someone like Casemiro, or there's talk that there was interest in the likes of Delo. I don't know if he'll go. The manager likes him, and I understand why. Maybe someone like potentially Mason Mount, and the manager again likes him. Is he going to get rid of him? I don't know. Maybe there is a player there that we don't expect to leave. Obviously, the big one would be Garnacho, who everyone's sort of assumes he's going to move on in the summer. You could save around 35, 40 million in wages alone. Plus, if you get some transfer fees in as well, maybe there's some money there that can make a deal like an Osimhen or Gyökeres doable. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's just beyond the realms of possibility? Do you think we could do that? Let me know. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Brian Casey says, I like Osimhen, but personally, I prefer Gyökeres. If we could get either of them, then I'd be happy. If I had to choose, I don't think we will have a choice, but if I had to choose, I'd probably just tip for Gyökeres just because the numbers he's putting up are just ridiculously good. And I think, obviously, Ruben Amorim knows him. There's a relationship there. I have a sneaky feeling it's not going to be either Osimhen or Gyökeres. I think the obvious one would be Liam Delap. The money is 30 million quid, I think, which makes a lot more sense. He's got that Premier League experience, plus he's got that sell-on value because he's only 22 years old. Gyökeres and Osimhen, both 26. If they were to spend 3 seasons or 4 seasons at United, you could maybe recoup a little bit of money for him, but you're not going to get loads of money. If Liam Delap comes to United and was just, okay, but didn't quite live up to the expectation, you could probably still get 30 million quid for him in a couple of years. I think the issue you've had at United is we've overspent on players, haven't we? We've overspent on the likes of Anthony. We overspent probably on Rasmus Højlund. I like Højlund, and I think there's a player there still, even though he's not had the greatest of seasons, but we spent too much money on him. He was never a £72 million player. That was just stupid by Manchester United, and it's not his fault, but we massively overpaid, and if we were to sell him, you're going to struggle to get that back. So let me know what you think. Graham Allen says, I'm with you, Jay. Osimhen or Gyökeres would be great. Adam Kenny says, we will struggle to sell all we need to. Only going to get 3-5 players total. 10 plus out. What's Santa Notch says? Scenes if we signed both, says Notch with a smiling emoji. Imagine that. Imagine we bought both of them. Imagine, right? We got both of them. And Amorim went, forget 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1. We're going 4-4-2. Imagine that, mate. 1994 United is back again. I would love that. Won't happen, but we can dream. Let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho. Make sure you're hitting that like button, please, people. We haven't even got to 100 likes yet. Come on, smash a like. Man United tell Chelsea to fuck off. No, I'm not joking. Tell Chelsea, sorry, to stump up 65 million for Alejandro Garnacho in the summer. Manchester United have told Chelsea they will have to pay at least 65 million this summer if they want to secure the services of Alejandro Garnacho. I'm in a minority here, and I'm going to keep banging this drum, and people are going to keep arguing with me, and no one's going to agree with me, and I don't care. I wouldn't sell Alejandro Garnacho. I'd keep Garnacho, and I know everyone's going to go, Jay, he's not good enough, what his end products isn't there, he's not kicked on, he's not a kid anymore, he's played over 130 games for Manchester United, you can't keep treating him like he's some sort of youngster, blah, 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 65 million quid, that means because of PSR, he's come through the academy, we can spend like 200 million quid, plus we can get the money and we can spend it all on loads of great players. I get all that, but I still think there's a player in Alejandro Garnacho. I think he's been a little bit mismanaged by the way he's come in, just been played into the ground at Manchester United, and I think we'll regret selling him. That's my opinion. I know you all disagree. I get it. I'm on my own on that one, but that is where I stand. Loads of people in the chat just saying, yeah, you know what, I think Real says I'd sell him 100%. Yeah, I get that. Aidan Gill says 65 million effing mad, 100 million or no. Yeah, I like that one. Brian Casey, Adam Kenny, Chris Griffiths all saying 4-4-2. Santa Notch says 4-4-2. Don't arouse me at this time of the morning, Jay. Sorry, Notch. 4-4-2, no man. Do you know what? It'd be great. Just bring that back. Do you know what? I'd stomach if we finished 15th if we were playing 4-4-2. Why not? Let's talk about this fire sale that's going on. Man United decided on just 4 untouchables ahead of massive summer fire sale. This is in the Mirror, obviously. I think this might have originated in the Star. Jacob Links with this one. And it's saying here about the players that are untouchable. I was reading this, right? If you scroll down to the players that United are saying, look, we're not going to sell. It's a bit of a weird one because I think, keep going, we're almost there. So only Bruno Fernandes, Maguire, Ahmad and Dorgu are immune from the fire sale. The quartet will not depart no matter the fee offered. Right, for starters, that's just not true, is it? Like, you're telling me, right, that Harry Maguire, no matter what the fee offered, is not for sale. Now, I'm not saying we should sell him, Maguire, I'd keep him. But Obviously, if someone came in and went, I'll give you 100 million for Harry Maguire, you'd take it. Like, so that's not true. Also, they go on to say Kobbie Mainoo, Luke Shaw, Manuel Ugarte, Casemiro, Rasmus Højlund, Matthijs de Ligt, Joshua Zirkzee and Christian Eriksen could all be sold in the summer's window. I understand that. We've had these rumours before. You know my thoughts on selling Kobbie Mainoo. I wouldn't want to see it happen. I'd also be quite surprised if Ineos sold Ugarte a year after buying him, sold de Ligt a year after buying him. Even Zirkzee, maybe there's something there because the fee was probably, you know, I know it was a buyout clause, but you think there was sort of maybe going back to Italy. Also, Christian Eriksen, he might, I think, is he out of contract? Someone, producer Ben was shouting something at me then. What was you saying, sorry? Yeah, I think Eriksen, is he not, is his contract up? I think was it not 3 years of an extension for one? Yeah, I don't know about those ones. Maybe some of those players could move on. There's talk one that Casemiro moving on. There seems to be quite a little bit of a fire to that smoke. But the idea that only Ahmad, Bruno, Maguire and was it Yoro? Dorgu, sorry, are the only ones. And also Yoro as well. You're not going to get rid of Lenny Yoro, are you? I think he's done well, Lenny Yoro. And it was a bit of a coup getting him. So if you get him and then you sell him a year later, that makes zero sense to me. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Hit that like button, please, people. Azoic SG says, Zirkzee is class. Don't sell him. Right, yeah, people slagging off the Mirror here. Tim Collins says, such apathy for this squad makes it feel so exciting for any striker and creator with minerals to join us. Let's talk about Milinković-Savić. Is it 2020 all over again, being linked with Sergej Milinković-Savić? No, it's not. It's Vanja Milinković-Savić. It's his brother. This is from Fabrizio Romano. He says, United have added Vanja Milinković-Savić to their shortlist for new goalkeeper. Initial contacts took place for Torino among candidates for next season, waiting on price tag and more, and then he tagged in whoever's broke the story. Now, this guy, he's 28 years old. I mean, he's one of those, right? I think if you told me he was like 40, no disrespect, I could believe it, but he's not, he's 28. A lot of people have been talking to me about this morning since the news broke, saying, yeah, he's a good goalkeeper, we should get him and all the rest of it. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not going to pretend I've watched loads of him. You may criticise me for that, but come on, let's be real. Let me know what you think. Do you think we should get him? It's about time we had a Milinković-Savić rumour on this channel. We haven't had one for a while, haven't we? Do you remember when we were just linked with Sergej's brother for years? It was like, United are going to get him this summer. United are going to get him. United are going to get him. Just went on and on and on and on. And eventually, he went. Where did he go to? Did he go to Saudi? Sergej, didn't he? When he was linked with United for so many years. Let me know what you think. Ant L says, can't see Vanja wanting to come back after the fiasco. The first time, yeah. What happened the first time with him? Because that was a bit of a funny one. He was at United, what was it, 10 years ago? But I don't know. He went from United, he went on loan a couple as well. He went on loan and then ended up going to, let's have a look, to Poland, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, because work permit, there you go, sorry. Work permit issues at United, so ended up getting released. So, I mean, would that affect him now if United did come in for him, 10 years later? Maybe. We have had players back in the past, haven't we, where we've sort of released them or let them go, or it's not worked out the first time. I mean, I'm going back many, many, many years, but obviously Mark Bosnich was one, a goalkeeper who left when he was a kid and came back. We bought him from Villa. Pogba, obviously, different scenario there because it was big money, but he left and then came back. It can happen. Will it happen with this goalkeeper? I'm not sure. I think we're still waiting now to see what the manager thinks about Andre Onana. You can't really tell at the minute, and we were talking about this last night on the Paddock podcast because we've been linked with some goalkeepers, and the manager's obviously playing his cards close to his chest because at the minute he doesn't want to be too critical or give anything away about Andre Onana. You remember Jamie Jackson was pushing him the other day, wasn't he, in a press conference, like, do you rate him? Do you want to keep him? Are you looking for a new goalkeeper? Now, the manager to come out and say, I'm looking for a new goalkeeper when he's having to rely on Andre Onana would be a little bit mental. So I understand why he's not doing that. But behind closed doors, he might be thinking that. I think some of it will depend on what happens between now and the end of the season. If Andre Onana ends up costing us Europa League, I think the manager will want to get rid of him. Do you remember what happened with David De Gea in the FA Cup final? It felt like that was a straw that broke the camel's back for Erik ten Hag. There was a rumour of a contract offer, wasn't there? Or not rumours, there was reports of a contract offer for David De Gea. He had a bit of a nightmare in the FA Cup final. And then next thing you know, that contract offer I think was rescinded or altered. David De Gea was unhappy with that, which you can understand. And then Manchester United went and bought Andre Onana. Be interesting to see. What's this news here?
They've managed to get the game delayed.
Fuck off. Yeah. Right, so Spurs have got their away fixture rescheduled against Villa. So they hang on a minute.
Wait, that's before.
That's still before. What's going on here? Right. So we'll scroll down. Where's this from? Sorry, we'll just.
It's on there.
So Spurs have said their final Premier League away fixture of the season has been rescheduled, and it's been.
Brought forward, then.
Oh, so it's been brought forward. Sorry, yeah, to the 16th of May, because obviously they wanted it rescheduled because of the Europa League final, which it looks like they're going to be in against Manchester United. Hopefully. But Villa, I think, were reluctant to reschedule it because they were like, well, no, we're going for Champions League football. We don't care about your Europa League final or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it has been moved. Spurs tweeting it. So that's done them a little bit of a favour on it. I mean, I'm not overly bothered, to be honest with you. Let me know what you think. Jamie Heaton says Villa game pushed back in case they make the final. Yep. Extra days to train, says Ridwan. Ridwan also says cheeky top Spur. Brian Casey says Spurs planning for the open top bus. They better not be. Well, they can plan for it. Gary White says we need 2 goalkeepers ASAP. The 2 we have now are crap. There is issues with both of them. And there's slight flaws. I do like both goalkeepers, but that's because they were both nice to my kids. But yeah, I mean, I do get there's flaws. Bayern comes in and you can see there's flaws there. Andre Onana, he has some good games. He has had some good games of late. He also has 1 or 2 games where you're looking at him like Leon away was a bit of a stinker, wasn't it? I wouldn't say the crap, but I understand why there's flaws in the game and I understand why people have reservations about the goalkeepers. I understand it. Spectre13 says, I prefer Delap over the other 2. I think he's talking about Osimhen and Gyökeres, I presume. Green Banana says Spurs won't make the final. Brian Casey says Onana needs proper competition. CTB says Onana was great in his first season. He deserves another season to prove consistency. I don't think he was great in his first season. I thought he was all right in his first season. I thought in the Champions League in particular he was poor, but he had a better spell in the Premier League. I felt it was an okay first season. I'll be honest with you. I don't think it was great, even though I do like him. Akash K says, Jay, do we need to sell Garnacho to make way for Cunha? No. Spoke to Laurie and apparently he was saying, well, not apparently, he did say it. It's not reliant on player sales. It's not reliant on whether we get Champions League football to bring in Cunha. United do have the money for Cunha. It might be a staggered deal. It might be 15 million quid over 4 years or whatever. But Manchester United, according to reports and according to Laurie and 1 or 2 other journalists have said it as well, United are confident that we've got the money to buy Matheus Cunha. Anything else, I don't know. If we were to go for Osimhen or Gyökeres or even Delap, will that need sales? I'm not so sure. But from what we've been told, to sign Matheus Cunha, we don't need to make any sales. Let's talk about Bellingham. Where's this from? Caught offside saying United to compete with Premier League rivals for 19-year-old freak of nature. So, Manchester United have been linked with a move for the Championship midfielder Jobe Bellingham. We've had this a few times, haven't we? He's at Sunderland. He's doing really well there. Highly rated. Obviously, 19 years old. From the Championship, Ronnie was talking about this on Paddock Podcast last night. You should be looking at the Championship. You should be looking at players there. Adam Wharton, who's done very well at Crystal Palace. They got him from Blackburn, didn't they, for a bit of a steal. We saw what Ahmad did in the Championship for Sunderland when he went there. He did very well. I know we already had him. He was on loan. But I think you can look at the Championship and you can spot players there who are teenagers or early 20s who are playing well. And you can think, actually, could they come into Manchester United and do a job? I wouldn't be against signing Joe Bellingham if the money was right. Obviously doing well. It's a tough league, the Championship as well. If you're a teenager playing well in the Championship, there's a very, very strong chance you can come into the Premier League and do bits. It's a very sort of tough, physical league and it's a good standard as well. So it's a good sort of practice, if you will, for want of a better word, for coming into the Premier League. And I think sometimes players benefit from having that sort of trajectory where they've gone into the Championship and they've played in those games, played in that tough league, and then come into the Premier League, rather than sometimes just being on the fringes of a Premier League squad, if that makes sense. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Chris Griffey says, signing with Chris Rigg. Love that. Let's talk about Jake Evans. So this is from Football Fancast. Man United willing to table £30 million offer to complete signing a vital 16-year-old. It says here, United are considering making an offer for a young player with a huge amount of potential as Ineos look to rebuild for the long haul. If we keep going, we've got a bit more info on that. There you go. According to a report from Spain, Manchester United are willing to make a £30 million offer for Leicester City attacker Jake Evans this summer. The 16-year-old has caught the eye in the Foxes Academy, standing out as one of the most exciting young players at the club, and Spurs are also believed to be in the mix. Manchester United are looking at young players. We have brought in teenagers. We bought the kid, was it Baik, the other day. Obviously, the likes of Aiden Heaven, Chido Obe, Sekakone. There's definitely been a sort of tilt towards younger players as well under Ineos. It makes a lot of sense. If you get players in for sort of, 30 million quid is a bit more than what we have been paying for some of these youngsters, but if you're getting players in for sort of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, whatever, and it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Also, even if they do okay, you can probably sell them on and get your money back or make a little bit of profit, and if they do very well, you can keep them and you've got an absolute bargain. So it's a bit of a win-win. Would make sense. One to keep an eye on, we will do as well. Just one final one from us. Manchester United, this is from the weekend. Manchester United battled back from 2 goals down to join Man City. United drew 2-2 Manchester United women with Manchester City to secure their place in next season's Champions League. That happened on Sunday. I don't think we mentioned it in the news yesterday. Forgive me if I didn't. Well done to Mark Skinner and the Manchester United women there for securing Champions League football. Ineos didn't really give the women's fans anything to shout about, did they, when Ratcliffe came in, and it was like he made it pretty clear he didn't give much of a monkeys about the women's team, but hopefully the attitude will change. My missus took my kids to go and watch that game. I was here doing watch along, so I couldn't go. They had a great day. My daughter's football team went there. They all went there to watch it as well. Always inspiring for young girls to see Manchester United women doing well. And also, I'm of the opinion any team that represents Manchester United should be backed properly, and it's a disgrace the women's team hasn't been back properly, and hopefully that is something Ineos can rectify. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to be back later on today. You're going to be hearing from Stephen Howson. There's other content on the channel as well. We've got a members video that's up, me and Joe having a little bit of a quiz, so if you've not done so already, check that out if you are a member. Extra content for our members. I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.